This class will cover how those type of processes can actually be faster, right? So but we're not going to be talking about anything technical. In fact, I think I will not be touching any formulas at all. But at the same point, we'll be doing a lot. So let's just get into the class. I don't know if I should. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay. Yes. We can see your screen now.
So I sort of have a spreadsheet here. I don't know if there's need for me to share the spreadsheet or we can just go on.
Okay, you can drop it in the chat box because we might have some people that will be practicing along here.
Okay. So I don't think I'll send it to you. I don't think I have an option to attach anything here.
Oh, okay. Can send it to me. I will attach it.
Okay. Yeah. So I've sent it to you.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Mercy. You can just go ahead. We'll just share the after the session.
I'm just going to go ahead now. So as I said, many people that have to work with Excel, I will say the stages, different stages at which they need to work. We can divide it into maybe data entry tasks. So that's when the data that you want to even work with is not in Excel at all, and it's not really like you are connecting to maybe a database or you are connecting to the data online and stuff like that. You need to manually enter it. So that happens a lot in administrative work. So now, when you need to maybe do a bit of data entry, so how can you make it say faster productive and stuff like that, there are some tricks that you can use in Excel, and we'll be talking about that in like the first part of this video, right? Okay, so yeah, I say okay, list 1 to 100. So if so if you want to list, maybe you need to list serial number in Excel. Now, how are you going to list it? And you need to list, like, maybe you need to enter some data, and then you have a serial number column, and then you need to list, say, 1 to 100. How are you going to go about it? So are you going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I think that's the like basic way to go about it, right? But another way to do it, to become series, and then what it does is that after you've listed a number of some numbers, and then you already have a particular volume that is showing, you already have a volume that is showing what? That is showing, you have a volume that is showing the trend, then you can highlight it this way, and simply decide to drag it down. So let's just say you will drag it till you get to 100. So I think this is faster than listing 1, 2, three. This will definitely be faster. So that is one way to go about it, right? But then there is another way. So let's say you need 1 to 1,000. So I'll go to the home tab. Then the home tab here, right? I'll come to fill as
Hi,
I
Messi.
said. What we are doing, like this
Hello,
thing
Messi,
we are
can you hear
doing,
me?
is called fill series. So I'm going to click on series. Hi,
Messi, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, your network is lagging. You can try to join back again. Let's see if that
Oh,
works. Yeah.
oh, okay. Let's try that.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Messi.
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen.
All right.
Okay. So I was saying that I hope we got the first part where I demonstrated how you can sort of list out whatever you want to list. So far, it is numerical by dragging. Okay. If you got this part, or yeah, react if you get it. If not, maybe I should just like go over it again.
Yeah, your voice is still breaking, so it's not yet balanced. But let's see how it goes. Maybe it's going to,
Let's
yeah.
let's see if I can change my wow. Just give me 1 minute or 2 minutes. No, can we hear me? Sorry about that. Let's hope the network.
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. I think it's okay now. So I asked the question that time that did we get these parts? And I generated this list without like typing it manually. So please kindly react if you do. Okay, thank you. I said that. Okay, someone said no. So let's just go over it again. No problem. Okay, okay. So now you maybe you're trying to enter data, you're trying to like generate a list, do something, and then you need to list 1 to 100. So assuming we have enough time, I will have asked a number of people how they were going to do that. But I'm sure maybe lots of us will have said, oh, you just list it. I just have to list it manually, like 1, 2, 3, 4, then till I get to 100, right? Okay, but another way and a faster way, let's say a more productive way that you can do that is to simply highlight this list, then you just drag it down, say till you are able to get to 100. So that was what I did with that. So please react if you like get it now. Okay, but I said, what if I need to type 1 to 1,000 or even 1 to 1,000,000? Like, how long will dragging take me? I might even drag to a point that my hand will be paining me. So another way to go about it is by using fill series. This is technically still fill series, but by dragging it. So after you've written like the first value in the list, then go to the home, click on it, then go to the home tab. Under the editing group, go to fill. Then we have different options for fill. And the one that is our own business is what? Fill series. So I'm going to click on fill series now. Then I have this dialog box. The first thing I'm going to do is I will change this series in from rows to column. That simply means that I want my list to be in one column. If I want my list to be in a row, I can leave it as row, right? Good. Then we have linear. What we want is linear because we are simply adding 1, 1, 1 as we go on. 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3. So let's say you want something that is like exponential, 1 raised power 2, 2 raised power, something like that. You can choose growth. But here, we just want to generate a simple serial number. Okay. We are not dealing with date here, but we can come to that later. Now, the step value is 1, which is just what you want to be adding to it. So plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? So stop value is the last value in your list or your serial number. So let's say this is actually 1,000,000. So I'm just going to type 1,000,000. What this setup is going to do is that it will list 1 to 1,000,000 in like maybe less than 1 seconds. Okay, so I'm simply going to click on OK now, and then we have 1. I click to the last row now. So we've listed out 1 to 1,000,000. So this, if you need to maybe create a list like this is one way you can make it faster. So now this same thing works with dates. So what do I mean? So I can come here and say, oh, I'm creating something for my company. I need to create a report. I need to do something. The point is I need to list maybe the dates in a month or all the dates in the year. So you don't have to do it like manually. That's what. So I'm just going to say one. So I will just list the first day of the year, right? 2025. Okay. The second day. Don't be confused. My own date is month, day, year. I'm not in Nigeria, like but I'm in Nigeria. But my date is not like the normal this thing anyway. so if I want to drag, like, so I can just do the drag down thing. So, and like this, I've listed out dates from January 1, and this is till March 18. I can keep dragging till like whenever I need to stop based on what I want to list. But the same thing still happens, the same thing that we used to list 1 to 1 million, that same dialog box also works with dates. The only sort of tricky thing is that if you are working with Excel, so before we go to the dialog box thing again, you need to know that your date is actually a number that is formatted to look like a date. So primarily, your dates in Excel, they are numbers. You only format them to look like dates. That is a discourse for another time. But we need those numbers now. So this is my date, and I'm just going to also write the last day of the year. So what I need to do, I need to convert these two to the actual number. So I've highlighted the two, and I'll come here and then select number. I don't need the decimal place, so I only need this number. Okay. In fact, I only need this last day here. So I can come back here now. So I'm going to copy this, or I just know that it is 460 460,222. 460,222. So I'll come here and we are doing the same thing again, right? Home tab, editing group, fill, series. Then I'll change this to column again. Now it has automatically detected that this is actually a date, and then we want the date to increase by day. So January 1, January 2, you might want to do weekday, months, year. So you can actually play around with all of this later. But the stop value for me, let's say I want to list out all the dates in 2025. The stop value will be 460 22, which is actually, we know how we come about that number, right? So I'm just going to click on OK, and then you see what has happened. I've been able to list out all the dates in 2025 without having to like do it like by typing everything out manually. So that is fill series. You can use it for a lot of things, but that is fill series. I hope we are still with me. So we also have, thank you. We also have autofill. So autofill, you might have, so autofill sort of works with text, while fill series will work with numbers. So if you type Monday, and then you need to, let's say you need to type Monday to Sunday, you don't need to like type the rest manually also. So we can just do the dragging thing again, and then you've been able to input Monday to Sunday. The same thing is applicable for January to December. Okay, and you can see here I use the short form of Monday. Here I use the long form of January. It works. So even if I use the long form of the day name, if I drag it, I still get my result. If I use the short form of month name, if I drag it, I still get those lists. So now this is like beautiful for Monday, January. But what if I have a list that's in the line of my own work? I always need to list that thing in Excel, like every time. I don't know. Let's say you have some departments in your company, in whatever, and then you need to always maybe list out those departments when you are doing your report, when you are just creating something that I need to send to your boss. So can you create that type of thing that when you write the first one and you drag it, it will give you the rest? So we can do that. So these ones are like the default Excel's custom list that we now fill out in the autofill like stuff. You can create your own custom list, and then that is what we will be doing next. So to do that, simply go to File, then click on Options, Advanced, then just scroll down till you see General. So I can see General here. Then under General, the last thing, Edit Custom List. So I'm going to click on that. So when you see my custom list now, you can see Sunday to Monday, like all of those things that I was dragging that looks like magic, they are already there. So if you want to add your own, you can click on New List, then you type out those things one by one, adding a comma. Also, if you've listed it somewhere in your Excel spreadsheet, you can simply click on this and then like highlight it, or you can even import it. Maybe it's in a CSV file. I've not used this option before anyways. So let's assume that we want to create a list for maybe some people in this class. So type everything separated by comma, and then we just need to note that, okay, this thing is starting from what? Olago, okay. So I'm going to click on add. So that has been added. Then okay. Then okay. So if I come here now and then I type Olago, okay. Then I drag, it automatically generates the other members of that list. So that is how autofill works. Before we sort of do a small, let's say something that is practical and sort of bring everything together for this data entry stuff, let's talk about drop down lists. So whenever you need to enter data in Excel, one thing that also makes the data entry to be faster and even is what we call data validation. And an example of data validation is drop down list. So data validation will make sure that, oh, nobody is entering the wrong data and all of that. But we want to talk about the drop down list here. So let's say you need to only enter one of these guys and you don't want to sort of enter them manually. Instead of, you can have this, let's say you want to enter it in this cell, you can have a drop down list here, and then you can just select one of them in that list. So to insert a drop down list here. I'll click on the data tab, and then in the data tools group, click on data validation. Presently, we have any value, so we are going to change that to list. You can set data validation with any of these two. So I'll click on list. Then you have two options, just like the custom list stuff. You can list out the things that should be in your drop down and separate them by comma, or you can select them somewhere. So the only thing with selecting somewhere is that if you come back to delete this list here, your drop down list will mess up, like there will be nothing there again. So if you know you might delete this, it will be better to sort of just list it manually. Yeah. Both method have their own merit and demerit. So I'm going to click on this and just select these guys, then click on OK. You can see immediately that we now have this drop down icon here. So if I click on this now, I can decide to just select any one of them that I want to enter. So I believe all of these tips is something that can make data entry like maybe faster if you do work that has to do with data entry. Please kindly react if you are still with me. Okay, so we just have like a very small non-serious tax that we just try to use just to sort of consolidate everything we've learned. So here we have like a teacher who manages weekly, we can say it's monthly attendance, whatever, and they need a way to log attendance status daily, right? So now for the students, we know students have like some sort of matric number and all of that. So let's say the matric number is in this format S001. Then we also have S002, and the person has 20 students. So they might need to type it to 20. But based on what we've learned about field series, so you can simply highlight these two, then drag this down. So now we've listed all like the matric numbers. Also, the each student that have a matric number, there's a particular order and names of the students that will fit this matric number. The teacher already knows that and she needs to type that, right? But she already created a custom list. I hope this was the spelling that I put there that I've added. And then if we just drag this down, we've like we've done those two tasks faster, right? And now we need to, I hope I'm not too fast. Please let me know if I am like too fast. Now the person needs to list out the dates because they will need to input attendance. So let's say April. Just need to list out the date, maybe for 1 week in April or for all the weeks in April. I understand that students don't go to school in weekends, but let's just ignore that for now. So okay. Or let's not ignore that. Let's wait. So let's just type the next date. All right. 2025. So okay. If we want to drag it, then we can simply drag, and then with this dragging, we've been able to what? We've been able to generate the date. Those hash sign you are seeing it's not because there's an error. It's just because the cells cannot contain those dates. So what can you do in this case? Simply come to the Home tab, Format, then click on Auto Fit Column Width, and then like then is that's we can now see everything, right? This is good, but let's try another option that I'm thinking about, putting in the fact that like students don't go to school every day. So if we just drag, it might not we might have some extra dates that we don't really need. Is April 1 not weekend? Let me just confirm calendar. Yeah, April 1 is a Tuesday. That is good. So we are just going to click on this, right? Then fill series. So this one we will leave it as the row because we need the row, right? Except that I need the numerical value for the last day in April. 30 days of September, April, June. I don't know if April is, I'll just put 30. Okay, 2025. Yeah, let's assume this is the last day in April. So I need the number. So that is 45777. Okay, fill, then series. As I said, we are going to leave the rows. Then the step value is 1. We want the days to increase like 1 with 1 day, right? Stop value is 45777. 45777. But we will not leave this as day because we want to deal with what? Weekdays only. So I'm going to click on weekdays and then let's just see what happens. So when we click on OK now, so I believe these are just the weekdays in April minus the weekend. So instead of having to like maybe type that manually, trying to figure it out, this is definitely faster. So now the next thing we need to do now, I'm just going to add grid lines to this place. The next thing we need to do now is we need to indicate, okay, how are we going to indicate attendance? Now, I have two options for us here. We can use the drop down. So maybe you want to indicate present, absent, or late, or you just want to indicate maybe the person is present or absent. So for the first option, let's click into this cell and then we are going to the data tab, then data validation. We want a list. Then for the source, we don't want to select anything. So we are just going to type P, which is for present, L, which is for late, then A, which is for absent. You can see that everything is what separated by a comma. I'm going to click on OK. So that means the person can simply come here and click on present or late or absent or whatever needs to be clicked. So we've only put the data validation or the list in the first cell. So how can you put it in the other cell? Actually, you can as well have selected everything before you go and click here and all of that. Okay. But another thing you can do, the fill stuff that we are doing that time, it's also applicable here. So if you come here and drag this down, it's sort of like you're dragging that, you've dragged that validation also. So it's also here. So we can simply come here and also drag. So now the drop down is in any of the cells. So I said there are like two options, right? So another thing you might want to use might be check boxes. So to get check boxes, you can go to insert, then I think it should be in every Excel this thing now. So under insert, so these check boxes under control here. So and then so you have a checkbox. So you can also drag this one. So if anybody is absent, you mark it, and all of that. Obviously, this can still be taken further by trying to do some analytics. Oh, the number of students that were present, or the number of days a particular student was present, all of that. But at least the basic thing we need to do based on these attacks is this. Okay, I hope we get all of this. Kindly react if you are still with me. Okay. Okay, thank you. So that is, so when people need to work with Excel, that is one thing they need to do sometimes. So now, some other time, people that need to work with Excel, they have data. So they have data that I am going to call unsummarized data. Okay. So I'm going to call the data that they have unsummarized data. So the data is just like, they just have like this large data. Their goal is not to summarize the data. Their goal is to summarize the data, but they still want to get some kind of, information from the data. So this data now is like, so it's like a company that maybe a real estate company, and then they have a database or some data about property listings, like properties that they have, the ones they sold, the one that is in their database, stuff like that, right? And then maybe you are the one in charge of the data, or you just, maybe you are simply the um executive assistant. So now, so reaction. So I'm just going to like continue. If you can hear me very well, please just drop a message in the chat so I can try to know like the general this thing. I can see someone that said no on the my network breaking. So I'm just going to leave and join again. Let's see what happens. I don't know why MTN is doing like this.
Hello, Messi. Are you speaking? I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me now? And can you
Okay,
see the
yes.
screen too?
Yes, we can hear you now clearly.
Okay. So I'll say sometimes the data that people have to work with in Excel, they are what I can refer to as like just raw data or unsummarized data, right? So this is that kind of data. Sometimes when people have maybe raw on or unsummarized data, they want to summarize it. Database, but let's call it a database. They have this data about different property listings in. They have the data, and then they need to get some information out of the data. Tasks like this might be given to anybody, a virtual assistant, an executive assistant, stuff like that. So you are the person in that position, and then so that's what this particular exercise is about. So we have some questions that we want to deal with. We will deal with more questions on this data, but we will also try to cover all of this based on on this data. So now the first thing we want to know here is that do we in total. Please can you still see my screen? God, do we have in total? As I said, we naturally don't want to use any formula in this class. So let's say use maybe count or count A. We can use, but we are not using any formula. So how can we know the number of records that? So we have in this corner here, and then we can get a lot of information from and see my this place is called the status bar, and we can get it. And this information that we need, which is what the total number of listings that we have, or the total number have, is we can get it from column in our data. So I'm going to highlight this property ID column. So can you see what can you see here? I can see count is what 100. So even like without using a formula, I can see that okay, the total record that we have, I highlighted all the record, just one column, and I can see that the count is 100. So that means what? The total records that we have is what? 100. Okay, please kindly react if you are still with me. Okay, thank you. So that is like the first question that we want to answer, and we've been able to answer that question. So the next question that we have here is, oh, what is the maximum listing price? What is the minimum listing price? And what is the average? If you are still wondering how are we going to do this without, maybe you don't have any idea, do the same thing. We are talking of the whole data set. So we are still going to just highlight the column that is involved, which is what? The price column. So I'm going to highlight that column. So I've highlighted the price column, and then we can see some things are being displayed in the some things are being displayed where in the status bar. So I can see my average. The average is what? 275,000. We can see we can see maximum 500,000. So I don't know, your own status bar might not be this comprehensive. So if you right click on any of those values, so maybe your own, maybe it's only counts or average that is selected, you can highlight. If you want to, maybe you need all of this information, you can select everything so that when you like highlight a column, you can see all of this information. Another thing is, so if I click on this, marks now, then I just go to a cell and I control C. No, that should be control V. So let's do that again. So I click on marks, right? Then I come here and then control V to paste. So what happened? It has pasted, like clicking on any of the values in the status bar copies that value in your, what's it called now? It copies that value. So where you can now decide to paste it anywhere that you want. Okay. So now we have another question now, which is what? How many properties have been sold? How many properties have been sold? Filtering. So when you have a data like this, one way you can get information out of that data is by filtering the data. So how can you filter your data? To filter your data, you need to add filter bars. How can you add that? Make sure you are clicking into the data. There are two methods. It's either you come to the home tab, then come here to sort and filter, and click on this filter. You can also see that the keyboard shortcut is what? Control Shift L. So it's either you click on this or you just still click anywhere in your data and then use Control Shift L to add these icons. Okay. So when it comes to filtering, you can filter numbers, you can filter text, you can filter numbers, and you can filter dates. So we don't have dates here, we only have numbers and text. How many properties have been sold? If you are using a formula, you are going to use count if, and then you just do count if you get the answer. But you can also do, we can click on this drop down, unselect everything, select sold, which is what you are concerned with, then click on OK. And just as we did before, just select everything, and then we can see that 40 properties have been sold. column alone. So I think the next question is bungalow properties have been sold. So why we still have this column, the status column filtered for sold, we can also filter another column. Type in this case, you want to filter type for what? For bungalow. So now, how many bungalow have been sold? You can just highlight this and we can see that what? 10 bungalows have been sold so far. Okay. Yeah, so that's filtering. So I also said we can filter with now you clear filter. To clear your filter, you can go back to where you click on that to clear the filter. I told you you can put the filter in like two places. The next place or data, which is filter here, then you can still see the clear here. And if you use Control Shift L again about that, you can see I have some things here. So I have account quick access toolbar. So quick access toolbar is also another thing that can make you really productive in Excel. Like if you know there's something that you use frequently, you can simply add that option to the quick access toolbar. So naturally, your quick access toolbar, I think is not usually here. It will probably be on top of your file list. So that's where you have your undo. That's where you have saved. But on here, I'll show the settings. And you can also add anything I use frequently in Excel. In fact, like for me to clear filter, I use it a lot. So that's why I put it here. Okay, so how can we access to bar? If you're here and see undo and print, so just right click on that place. Just right click on the place. Quick access toolbar. So right click quick access toolbar. So after a dialog box is going to come up. So we have this dialog box and everything here are the stuffs in my own quick access toolbar. So let's see, I don't know, trying to look for an option. So let's say you create new files a lot and you don't want to go to file, then click on new, and all of that. I can decide to select new file, then add it to my quick access toolbar. So maybe what you actually want to add is not here in this list. You can come under choose command and select all commands, then just search for what you want. Okay, so but anyways, we've added new file, right? So I mentioned before that for some people the quick access toolbar will be like above, will be below the ribbon, while for most people it is above the ribbon except to change it. So you can change that option here, toolbar position. So my own, I prefer below ribbon, but it's like it used to be above the ribbon before. Option that I want to add, which is new file. You can also remove if you don't want something. So I'm simply going to click on OK now, and then you will see the new file option under my quick access toolbar. So you can see new here now. So if I click on this, I'll be able to quickly create a new file. Okay, that is just that. So we can come back to filtering again. So I was saying we can filter by number. So let's say we want to filter, you can type filter try column on. Is it the quick access toolbar thing?
Hi, Messi.
Hello, Miriam. Hello.
Okay.
I don't know. Why is my
We are going
network?
to share the recording, Mariam. Yeah, sorry about the network, Mariam. We are going to share the recording. So I just want to send a reminder. We have a few minutes to go. Messi, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. I
Yeah,
can
so
hear
we
you.
should be rounding up towards the last part.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
I can hear you.
okay,
I can hear you.
okay,
I said we have
okay,
few
okay,
minutes
okay.
to go. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I
to be
got
conscious, we
that.
have few minutes to
Yes,
go, so you
yes,
can
yes.
round up so they can
So,
ask questions.
oh, okay, okay. So, well, I still have a number of things that I want to talk about, but what should I do? To flash view. So there's something called flash view. Feel is also very good. So we can see that here in this column, I have like the address, but the address has like different parts. And let's say I want to extract type reverse here, type Kaduna is something that makes that to be easier. Now, how do you use flash view? You need to identify what you want. Yes, I want to extract the date, the state, which is the last type Enugu. Well, in the next place, I can type reverse. You can see my screen is slower than it should be. I'm sorry. But immediately so I have a second screen I'm looking at. So immediately I try to type reverse. You can actually see that it has extracted the rest for me. But anyways, I'm just going to type reverse also. Now after typing the reverse, the way flash view works is that you will go to the next empty cell and then use the flash view keyboard shortcut, which is Control E. So I'm going to press Control E now. And I'm sorry the screen is slow. What happens immediately you type Control E is that it sort of immediately extracts the other details that you need. It extracts the other details that you need. If you feel that that detail is not totally correct, I just type 2. You can type like Control E. It's discover the pattern and just extract all other informations that you need. You can search more about flash fill. It's a very wonderful feature that can, like, sorting. I don't think I'll be able to touch sorting today. Conditional formatting. Okay. Now you have a data and you need to summarize it. So we have this data. I'm on another sheet now and we want to summarize this data. So the first thing I will advance into a table by using the keyboard shortcut Control T. So I've converted into a table. To summarize this data, you can use formulas like sum if, count if, and the likes. But you can also use pivot tables, which does not need formulas at all, and you still be able to get out, most information that you want. But there is also another of these pivot tables. But just so click on the Home tab. You should see this analyze data, especially if you are using analyze data in the Home tab. So I'm going to click on that. It uses data, so it might take a while to load. It should not take too long. So if it's taking too long, we'll move on to another thing while I come back to it. Yes, this is analyze data. And what it does is that you can simply ask it question. Total amount by region. I'm just going to type in total amount by region. So you can see what has happened now. It helped me to create a chart. When I click on insert chart, now I have a new page that is showing me that particular information, what the total amount by the different region. And it actually is correct. You can build this manually, but that's just a faster way to do these things, especially if you are not so good with Excel. So you can ask it a lot of questions. It is better if you format your data into a table, and then your question should carry the exact column header of your tables. Okay, I'm sorry if I am too fast. I just things that I should touch before we leave. So another thing is that I want to mention is auto sum. So for auto sum, you have a list of numbers that you need to add up, right? So I'm clicking into the next empty cell after those numbers. And then I'm just going to type out equals to. So what happens immediately is that Excel inserts a sum that is adding everything in that row, and that is exactly what I want to do. So that happens for rows, and that can also happen for columns. So assuming I want to add everything together, I'm just going to highlight all the data and also highlight extra space at the end of both the rows and the column. Good. Then I'm also going to type alt equals to, and what has happened is that Excel has automatically calculated total for each row, total for each column, and even the overall total. think the last thing I want to show us is creating of custom or template charts. So let's say for this particular scenario, I need to create a chart that is showing the total by region. So I'm going to highlight this first. Then I'll go to insert. Then I just chose a chart that I like. I select the axis name. Okay. So I have my chart, but the main thing I want to show us is sometimes you want to collaborate. So I'm just trying to format this chart like the way I want. That's not like the main thing I want to communicate with this class. What I want to communicate with this part is the use of template chart. So let's say I want to add data labels. Then I want the data labels to be, let's say, at the bottom. Okay, I want data labels to be here. I want to add few columns. Okay, so the point is that every time, let's say in our own company, every time we create a chart, it's chart to look right. This is where my manager wants the chart to look. You don't have to always, create a chart. Okay, I need like 1 minute more.
All right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You said you need 1 minute more, right? So that they can ask their questions then.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely, yes. Okay, so this is the way the chart should always look. And you don't need to always create chart format it every time and every time. The template. So when you right click on the chart, you would see save as template. So I'm just going to name. I'm going to give it a name. Then I'll save that chart as a template. I have another data set here that is very similar. So I need to visualize this data also. So I'm going to select the data, right? And I click on insert. Now, instead of just picking just any random clustered column chart, you click on all charts and then click on templates. When you click on templates, you can see the template charts that we just created. Yes, so this is the template chart that I would just be available in any Excel workbook that you're working with. So I'm just going to click on OK now. So now I've created this chart in the exact format that I want, which is like the constant thing. So I don't need to be doing extra work for managing one of that. Okay, so I guess that's it. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much, Mercy. That was an educative session and practical. So, is there anybody that would like to ask a question? Let's do that in the next 2 minutes, so we can Okay, if you have any question, you can drop it in the chat box. So it's been a long 1 hour, 30 minutes, and I would like everyone to say thank you to Mercy for taking our time to, explain each part. If you can hear me clearly, and if you've learned something in this session, please kindly send a reaction. Let's clap, let's do anything, let's celebrate. This is such a powerful session that even if you are a newbie or you're not familiar with using Excel before, you can get something. And even if you're already working in a particular field, I know I'm very learned something that you're going to use. Okay. So thank you very much. I know some people join us and they are beginner in this field, and I know some people are familiar with using Excel before, but not to worry if you're a beginner and all this thing looks strange to you, just like Messi said earlier, some parts might look as if she's performing magic, or some parts might look as if she's doing something weird. But if you find yourself in that scenario and you would like to upskill or you would like to transition into this career, MALhub is the right place for you. We have presently, there's a data analytics course that is going to start on Monday. Yes. So you don't even have to be in our location. This is a virtual class. You can register on our website, malhub.org. You can check that out. So the course is just 70,500 naira. We also have, if you are located in Lorraine, that is where our physical location is. You can also check in to register for our courses. So if you're a beginner and you would like to learn all these things from the basic to the expert to the advanced class, you can check our website and register for this course. Like I said, it's going to start on Monday. That is for the virtual program. And for the physical program, it's also going to start this month. We also have data science course, cybersecurity, front-end, coding, and AI. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can unmute, can ask Messi directly.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
I'm Abdurrashid by name. I heard you said
Hi.
there is an ongoing class here in Ilorin. I
Yes,
have two
at
questions.
MALhub in Lorraine.
I couldn't hear
Okay.
the price clearly. Is it 17.5 or 75?
Okay, for the virtual program, it is 70,500 for virtual class. That is online class. But if you are in Ilorin, you can check our office for our rate card for the physical program. But for virtual program, that is if you want to register online class, it is 70,500. It is a discount price, and you get to learn for 3 months from the basic to the expert level.
Where is
Did I
your
answer
office
your
in Ilorin?
question? It is located at number 1 Ilofa Road, GRA.
All right,
Challenge.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So you can check the inbox for the link to our website. Hi, Abdurrashid. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, there's a link in the chat box, so you can use that to check us out. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So, do we have any questions again regarding the course? Okay, please. I notice your Excel is blank. Your cell doesn't have border. How did you do that, please? Okay. Messi, can you hear me? Hi, Messi. Can you hear me? Okay, Miriam. Messi applied a grid lines through border. So that was how she was able to have border in the attendance tracker, if you're talking about the attendance tracker. Okay. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I got the person's question. What you are looking at here is actually grid line, not the border. The one here is the border. Like the one that is really black is the border line. But the gray one is called grid lines. And you can remove the grid line by going to view and unchecking grid line. Please let me know if I've answered your question.
Hi, Miriam Adegoke. Does that answer your question?
No, I not get that. You said I will go to where, please?
You go to view, the view tab.
Okay, ma. View, then where will I go to again from the view tab, ma?
You can see show. Then under that show, you will see grid line. You uncheck the grid line.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. So if you want to connect with Mercy, Mercy is on Instagram, on LinkedIn, in case you want to learn one or two things from our social. She always share industry news that you can learn from on LinkedIn at Olalua Mercy. Okay. Hi, Mercy. Do you want to say one or two things to round this up? And again, this session, the recorded session will be shared with you, and also the materials that Mercy used to practice during this session. Everything will be shared so you can practice on your own. And once again, if you want to register for any of our classes, any of our courses, you can check out our website. The link is in the chat box. You can click the link and it's going to take you to our website. Okay.
Okay, so can we still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. I think the only thing I have to say is